Thank you, Liza. All right, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We've got a couple of guests in the room as we've already been introduced. Before we get started, we've got a couple of changes to the agenda before you. The first thing is the first speech title. For start off is going to be Indian Roots and American Wings. Indian Roots and American Wings. And then our general evaluator will not be Javier Mosquera. He will not be joining us this evening. It will be Rhea Reisman. Do you have an extra agenda?
Oh, I left a whole bunch of
Does everybody have an agenda?
I'm sorry, what's the name of the general evaluator?
Rhea Reisman.
same as Humorist.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe those are all the changes for this evening. So, for our guests, my name is Javier and I am the Toastmaster for this evening. Basically, I am the Master of Ceremonies. I will be conducting the meeting and flowing everybody through, taking people in and out of the speaking area. And as people are coming up, we'll go ahead and we'll explain to you exactly what their particular roles are. Our first role player for this evening is our Invocator. Our Invocator comes up and gives us something to think about. He delivers a message to the club. So without any further ado, if you'll help me welcome Mr. Emmanuel Perjoy.
Thank you, Master Toastmaster. Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and most esteemed guests. I have a story to tell. Some years ago, a crew of Peruvian sailors, they were headed up the Amazon coast when they came across a strange sight. They saw a ship anchored off the coast with a lot of sailors lying weakly on the deck of the ship. Their lips were parched and sore, and they were literally dying of thirst. "Can we help you?" shouted the Peruvians. The sailors cried back, "Water, water, we need fresh drinking water." The Spaniards, the Peruvians were surprised, but they replied back, "Lower your buckets and help yourselves." The Spaniards, fearing that they were misunderstood, cried back, No, we need fresh drinking water." But they got the same reply from the Peruvians, "Lower your buckets and help yourselves." The Spaniards reluctantly did what they were asked to do, and they were surprised to find fresh drinking water. Actually, what had happened was that they were at the mouth of Amazon, but too far away from the land to actually see the coast. They had fresh water in abundance, but they had quit. They had resigned to die when all that was needed was to lower their buckets and fetch all the water that they needed. There are many occasions in our lives when we just decide to quit. But we could have just given that little more effort. That's all I'm asking all you to do, is to put in a little more effort and make that difference, which is similar to what happened to the Spaniards. Thank you.
afternoon, I took a look outside of my window, and in the beginning of the summer, I had purchased 2 bulbs for tuberoses, and I planted them because I wanted them to grow and have really sweet smelling flowers in my house. Tuberoses are the basis for most perfumes, so this is a very strong scent. And it turns out that during the summer, a squirrel came on top of of the little ledge where I was, dug up the bulbs and ate the bulbs. So all that was left were a couple of leaves. So I left the leaves in the dirt, and I looked at it today, and there were like 17 new leaves that have grown. Now granted, it'll never flower, but the leaves kept on growing. So you don't stop, life always finds a way. So thank you very much. Our next role is by one of our more talented humorists. Rita's been with us for quite some time, and what, year and a half, 2 years?
About a year and a half, I
Year and a
guess.
half? Very good. That's right, because you did it for you as president, so. So the humorist is going to inject a little bit of humor and get the blood flowing. So please help me welcome, and be loud about it, Ms. Rita Reese.
Mr. Toastmaster told Toastmaster saying, welcome guests. There was this guy who was really cheap, and he had to buy a birthday gift for a friend of his. So he went to the store, and he was looking at everything, and everything was just too much money. And finally he found a perfect gift, really cheap, but it was broken. It was what had been a beautiful vase, but he thought, well, I can have it shipped, and my friend will think it broke during delivery. So he purchases this vase and tells the store he wants it shipped. They say fine. A few weeks later, he gets a thank you note from his friend thanking him for the beautiful vase. And he said, it was so thoughtful of you to pack it in individual pieces.
Now, before we move on to our next speaker, if you would all rise so that we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you, for whatever reason, happen to not want to say the Pledge of Allegiance, just stand there quietly while the rest of us do so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next speaker is our word of the day and grammarian. Probably one of the more important roles that we actually do have to fill. The word of the day, the person who chooses the word of the day actually helps us to expand our vocabulary, and that's what we are all here for. So please help me welcome Ms. Liza Baca.
Your word of the day is on the agenda. I picked the word draw because you use it as an adjective, noun, and a verb. It's an amusing way, an odd way, whimsically humorous. A droll person, to jest or to joke. Sentence examples, it's a kid's book, but extremely charming and droll. The collage and paint illustrations of the mice are droll. Nick is very droll. He's got a very good dry sense of humor. And the reason I picked this word is because it's a different way to express a behavior or show something. And I'll be watching out for this word throughout the meeting, counting and giving a report. I'm also the grammarian, so I'll be listening for great use of grammar, rooms of improvement, and just reporting on all that in general. So I'll have to be listening. Hopefully, it'll keep me busy. Thank you.